Hello, and welcome to a Reinvent Yourself podcast. I am Lisa Andrea, and I want to thank you for listening. My goal is to share insights with women in order to help them in the reinvent, reevaluate, and restore journey. My guest today is Chellie Cambell, author, speaker, and creator of the popular financial stress reduction workshops, which now has licensed coaches throughout the country. Chellie has 3 published books. Her first book was The Wealthy Spirit, Daily Affirmations for Financial Stress Reduction. Her second book, Zero to Zillionaire, 8 Foolproof Steps to Financial Peace of Mind, was released in April 2006. And her third book, From Worry to Wealthy, A Woman's Guide to Financial Success Without the Stress, was released in February 2015 and was the #1 best-selling new release in women in business, budgeting, and money management on Amazon. As a student, I was a student of Chellie's, of her financial workshop. Chellie has had a very positive impact to my life, and that's a good reason why she's my first ever podcast interview.
Yay!
Yay! Since my focus is on women reinventing their career and life, we'll be talking to Chellie about her journey in creating a business, being a financial stress reduction mentor for so many people. Welcome, Chellie.
Thank you so much for having me. This is so fun.
This is, and it's such a pleasure having you here. I have to say, for people that are not familiar with your work, that your teaching method is not only helpful and informative, but you do it with really fun storytelling.
Yay.
And you made me feel like you were my personal mentor. I mean, we had other people in the class, but I felt really special, really, and really
so
almost
glad.
like it was one-on-one, even though there were other people that participated. And I made some really lasting relationships with the people that were in the class with me.
I know, because I only have good people.
Yes. Our focus today, so everybody knows, is to learn from your successful experience reinventing your career from a musical comedy actress and owner of a business management firm to this new career creating the financial stress reduction workshops that you promote with your speaking engagements and your books on the same subject. So, first question, what made you decide to make this change in your life in the first place?
Well, the first change, speaking of reinvention, the first change was all throughout high school and college and then 8 years professionally. I just wanted to sing and dance for a living. I wanted to be a musical comedy actress, and I did it. And it was fun. But I found that it was more fun in school than it was as a profession. Because this I discovered later in analyzing it was the part of it that I really liked was rehearsal. Because then you're working with a small team of talented professionals who are happy they're working, and we're inventing stuff, and we're laughing a lot, and we're creating this show. And then you go on and you do the show and you get applause, and then you do the show and you get applause, and then you keep doing it. I did 5 shows a day, 5 days a week for 9 months out at Disneyland. And that was the end. That was the end. I said, this is the most bored I've ever been in my entire life. What else is there? But I just didn't know what else to do. But I took secretarial jobs in between acting jobs, and one of them kept promoting me, and suddenly I'm the office manager in charge of the money and the organization, and I loved it. Who knew? You could not have told me back in college that I was going to like being an office manager. But I loved it, and I took to it, and I started turning down auditions, and I turned down the lead in 3 Penny Opera at the Houston Alley Theater in Texas.
Wow.
When they called, that one I had to think about, and I talked to my girlfriend, who was also in a business of her own, and we had met acting in a play together. And I said, I'm about to quit show business, but my whole identity is as an actress. I can't say I'm an actress, I'm a creative artist anymore. And she said, well, really, let's look at it. What was it you loved about acting? And I said, well, I love the people, I love the creativity, I love the applause and acknowledgement, and I love the people, and I like getting paid. She goes, and what do you like about this job you have now in the office management? And I said, well, I love the work, it's really creative, and I love the people, and I get lots of applause and acknowledgement, and the money is fabulous, I get to go to work every day. She goes, same list. Yeah. And I went, damn, it is the same list. And I learned in that moment to go for the underlying value, not the surface value. And that's really important. What floats your boat? What makes you feel important? What makes you feel valuable? What makes you love yourself? and other people then respond to that loving you too. Not everybody. That's the big trap. I was always trapped by that good girl box that says everybody has to think you're fabulous and you have to be so nice and charming to everybody that everybody loves you. And so I'm at a party and there's 100 people and 99 of them love me, but one doesn't. I'm following that one around trying to change their mind. You know,
I think that's called the people pleaser syndrome, right? Which I've lived with all my life. Yeah.
Well, women are raised to be that.
Yes.
You know, we're not taught to be aggressive and to go out and demand our good and to ask for the raise and the bonus. We wait to be asked. Wait for the man to ask you out. Wait for the man to propose marriage. All the dating books are wait and manipulate.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I just was not that. I wanted to make my own life. And when I was growing up in the 50s and 60s, there was no model for a woman business owner. There was no picture of that anywhere in my reality. It wasn't on TV. It wasn't in the movies. It wasn't in reality, in the newspapers, on the news. It was all male anchors.
Well, they didn't even let women have their own credit. My mom actually, she had to plan 4 years ahead to be divorced. And the way she did that was getting a job at a bank so that she could secretly create
Sock
her
some
own
money away.
Yep, so that she could make her own credit standing because they didn't allow women to have that.
Well, I had my own credit card in 1970, and when I got married in 1973, they took it away from me. They said you have to reapply under your husband's name. And then because he was an actor with sporadic income, they denied the credit.
Wow.
Well, Dennis Weaver was the president of the Screen Actors Guild, of which we were both members. And he was doing television commercials for Bank of America. So I wrote him a letter and said, we think it's a pity that you're doing commercials for a company that won't extend credit to actors. Here's my story. 2 days later, I had a 2-page letter from his attorneys. It's a copy of a letter that he sent to the head of Bank of America. And that man called me the next day and said, Miss Cambell, I'm in receipt of this letter and understand you had a problem. What can we do to make this better for you? I said, well, you could send me a Bank of America card. He said, you'll have one tomorrow.
And that was the beginning of your financial stress. I mean, you knew from way back then that was something...
that it shouldn't be. And this was the feminist me, because feminism was, the 1970s. That's when it was all beginning. Yeah. So that was a reinvention too, but I always had that feeling that I was more like a man in a way, that I wanted things and I had visions and plans and dreams and goals. And my father gave that to me. And I understand from reading some books like The Managerial Woman that when there are no male children, the father will give all those male instructions to the oldest female daughter.
Interesting.
And that was me.
Yeah.
So we were buddies.
Oh my goodness.
And so I got a lot of that, but then I tried to, then I kind of got a mixed message, because then we had a ping pong table and I played ping pong, right? And I was pretty good. So I invite this boy I like, over to play ping pong, and I wipe him out. My dad takes me aside and says, let the boy win. I will tell you, I felt so betrayed in that moment. Oh. Let the boy win. The message was, you can't be a winner with a man. You have to have him be the winner. Well, rightly or wrongly, I think that he probably was just saying, give the other guy a chance a little bit, be nice a little bit. Yeah. But I took it wrong, and so that stood as a barrier for me for a long time. But back to reinvention. After I did this job for a while, then I was hired eventually to run a small bookkeeping service. And then I saw I could do this bookkeeping job, but there was one other person in the company. But if I do this all day, every day, this is going to be my life. There's no place to rise to. I said, but if I got good at getting clients in the door, I could hire a whole bunch of other bookkeepers, and then I would have a different job, and I could really rise here. So that's what I did. In that first year, I brought 3 more people in to handle the new client load that I had produced. So the 2 guys who owned the company pulled me aside. They didn't work in it. They were attorneys. They just wanted the books done for their clients and themselves. So they said, you act like an owner, so we think you should be one. Here's 20% of the company.
Wow.
And that's when
be it, and you will do it, and you will be it. In other words. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
So that's the answer. I just acted what I saw in front of me. This is what needs doing, and this is my opportunity, and I'm going to do it. I didn't go make a deal with them, say, if I do this, will you give me? It didn't occur to me. It just occurred to me I was making my job better. And they say, here's 20%. And I went, oh, well, gee, now 20% of this amount of money isn't so much, but if it's this, if I hire more people. So eventually I had a company with 13 people, and I bought the other guys out.
Oh my gosh, what a great story. Yeah.
I know, it was pretty awesome and pretty fun, and it just sort of happened organically and naturally. It just, grew out of. Plus, the other thing was I wasn't a professional bookkeeper. I never took a class in it. The other guy, luckily, was studying for his CPA exam. And when they hired me, they thought I knew a better level of bookkeeping than I really do. And so I figured that out after a few days on the job, and I just took the difficult things and gave them to the other guy. And finally, I took him aside. I said, listen, these technical things they think I know. I don't know. He goes, I know.
Well, of course he would. He's the expert, right?
Yeah. I said, well, listen, this is what I do know. I know how to build business. I know how to get more clients in the door. I can be really sweet and negotiate with all the clients who are pissed off right now because things haven't been going well. So I'll cover you on that. You cover me on the technical side, and I'll get you a raise in 3 months. He said, you got a deal. And I did. That's what I did.
Oh, my gosh. So, okay, so then the next step, which I'm going to say really is the one that was the major reinvention, right?
Right.
Is from going from owning your own business into a completely different field. I know. And I
get a chill down my spine when you say it, because this is the key. This is the key for everybody listening. I want you to understand this. You are always on the path. You are always becoming who you are. You are always being God-driven to your highest purpose. And it may not look like the pieces fit, like singing and dancing and musical comedy and owning a bookkeeping service. How does that go together? But they were both training me for what I do right now. Mm-hmm. Because what happened was I saw, and looking at all of these people's checkbooks and financial statements, that they didn't know anything about how the money flow worked, or how to be more profitable, or what parts of their business were sinking and it was taking too much time and not producing enough income. But I could read it. I could see it. I just had a feel for it. And so I would mail them their financial statements, which they couldn't read, and they thought, oh, I put this aside for the CPA at the end of the year. And I went, hi, did you get the statement? Oh, yeah, it's here somewhere. Did you read it? Well, not yet. I know they can't read it. I said, well, I'm going to come over because I saw some stuff you want to know for running your business better. Oh, okay. So I came over and I showed them last year, the year before, this year. Now, look what has happened here, and look at how much more money you're spending on this area, office supplies. Why are you spending more money on that? And then here's where you're losing money on this product line, and you're really making a fortune over here, so screw this and do more of that. And I went, oh, well, 3 people in the same week said, you should teach this. And that was it. When 3 people who don't know each other give me the same message, I think it's a message.
Yeah.
So I seriously, I looked at it. Now, Tony Robbins had an infomercial running 24/7 on cable at the time. And so I had taken some seminars in marketing or sales or whatever. And I looked at Tony Robbins and I said, oh, no, that is not what I want to do, because that's performing. That's being on stage and doing your thing and having everybody high five and cheer. And you do it over and over and over. And that isn't what I want.
Right. That's almost going back to your original problem, right?
So I knew instinctively that was not the model for me. Well, what really worked for me was small mastermind groups. When I went into therapy, for different things, relationship issues or whatever. And I always went to group because I wanted to see how other people felt about the instruction, how other people related to the suggestions. And what were their problems? I was always fascinated with people. See, that's where the acting came in, because in acting, it's all psychology. It's analyzing a character. I remember being taught, you want to ask two questions when you get a part in a play. What does the character want? And what is he willing to do to get it? Interesting. And then you want to look at all the other characters that are relating to that person. And what do they want? And what are they willing to do to get it? Because some people are willing to commit murder, lie, cheat, steal, and everything. Mm-hmm. And other people only want to be good people, and that's the most cherished part of their personhood. So coming from that, I always loved groups.
Well, it's a natural curiosity, too, about people. And that's where all of this starts with.
You got to love people.
You got to love people, and you got to be interested in what they are about and what makes them tick.
Yes,
and everything
and help them make it tick better.
Yes,
and I just
help
said,
them.
Here are some wonderful people, but they just have this missing piece, and I understood why. Financial literacy isn't taught in our school systems, and well, you should get it from your parents. Well, yeah, if your parents know, but a lot of them don't know. I'll tell you. Some of my friends who are 1%ers, they got different messages about money than I got. So, as the typical middle class, leave it to Beaver, father knows best kind of.
Don't waste your money. Don't spend it on this. Don't go on a big extravagant vacation.
And you stick to it. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, you have such great information for everybody that's listening. For people that are really kind of just starting, right? I'm going to say they've done a self-awareness type of exercise. They've gone through a process. They know now what it is that they want to do. Where do you think their first step should be? What would be like a first step that you should take when you really realize now this is what you want to be?
They need to get started in a new career or a new way of being or whatever.
Should they write down all of goals and what they should do each day? And
writing is always good, because as you write, you learn things. You learn things about yourself. Sometimes just free-form writing.
It's really helpful. And that's where actually my first blog post, which was freeform, by the end of it, I decided, I'm going to be interviewing women that have gone through or in the reinvention process and have them teach me how to do it.
Yes.
And then in turn, teach everybody else that's listening and reading about it. So
when I got the idea to teach a class on money management, I knew that it was not going to be just about the money, because it had to be about the whole person. What's living a rich life inside? What's living a rich life in relationship? And creating a lot of fun and relaxation along with the work. So I said, I'm going to put this class together, and there's going to be a very spiritual component to this.
Yes.
And I will tell you that it was a recessionary period. It was 1990 when I invented this class. And I had a lot of ideas about it. And then I said, well, I can't spend any time doing this unless I can make money doing it. So the very first step was I wrote a flyer for the class. This is what we're going to cover. This is what it's going to cost. And I mailed it out to my entire mailing list. Snail mail, right? And then I waited. Well, a good return on snail mail at that point is like 3% to 5%. I got 0. No one responded at all. But by this time, I had invented a lot of stuff in my head, and I was excited about it. So I said, well, shoot, they just don't know anything about it, so I have to call. So I remember this, sitting at my desk, taking out the mailing list and highlighting the people that I thought would be interested in a seminar and that I would like to have in my room. And I called them up, and I enrolled 12 people to show up in 3 weeks for an 8-week class, 2 hours a week for 8 weeks. And I hadn't written it yet.
I love that story. I know that story, but I'm glad you shared it.
Yeah.
That is amazing. Because the main thing is, whatever you do and whatever you're going to do, it has to have money coming in. You have to have money coming in. Yeah.
Yes.
So you have to figure out how to monetize
And I charged practically nothing, but I had to get something. And that was sort of proof. And then I saw the results people had. I mean, people quit their jobs and opened businesses. Mm-hmm. People got huge raises, 35% raises, because they had never asked for them or proven their worth and value. Yeah. And one woman quit her job and got a better job offer across country where she really wanted to live anyway. So I mean, I said, okay, this is more valuable than this amount of money. So I raised the price, and I kept raising the price because if I'm going to be my own boss, I want to be the best boss I can imagine. And the best boss would give me a lot of vacation time, days off, and a lot of money and raises and bonuses. So
that's so perfect. What did you do when you felt discouraged? Because a lot of it, I mean, I've even gone through just my first 30 days. There's been about 4 days of, I call it fear and doubt.
Oh, God. That's what I'm teaching. My classes this week is class 6 is about breakthrough, which is usually preceded by breakdown. Okay. So you're going to have down days. Everybody has them. There's going to be times where nothing works. Everybody says no. You fumble every word out of your mouth. You get sick. You get tired. The big job that was going to happen, they say no. The big PR promotion that was coming out in the magazine, it got pulled for something else. I mean, I've had a million of these. Trying to get my book published, that's a whole nother saga of errors and omissions and, getting a deal and having it burned down 4 days later. And
oh my gosh. How did you, what was your, because I know you stress daily affirmations, which is amazing.
Yes.
And
so I keep, the hardest time to do positive thinking is when you most need to do it, when the ships are sinking and everything looks lost. I will tell you just this. Here's an example. So the Wealthy Spirit, I've done the due diligence, I've written the book proposal, I've gotten an agent, we're shopping publishers, and I got a deal with Harper San Francisco. And their parent company is HarperCollins, one of the big 6, I mean, I was over the moon. I told every single person at every networking group, all my family, all my friends, everybody, I sent it out in an email, and 4 days later they canceled the deal. Now, it's even worse than that. They canceled the deal because HarperCollins and parent company in New York had just signed another woman to do a page-a-day book about money. So that was my unique idea. There was no page-a-day book about money. There were 766 titles on Amazon at the time that were page-a-day books, not one about money. I said, that's it. And she was going to do the same idea. I tell you, I hung up the phone after getting the message, and I just howled. I howled, I cried, I went to bed, I ate chocolate. Oh. I went to bed, and I turned the electric blanket up to Mother, and I cried myself to sleep. Woke up in the middle of the night, cried myself asleep again. And then I woke up in the morning, and I said, well, she can't write my book. My book is my stories. So what if there's another book that's a page a day about money? There's a page a day about living and growing and sex and everything else. There's a million of them. So I'll be the second one, and mine will be better.
That's the way to do it.
And I said to myself, I believe in this. I am determined. I've been teaching my classes all these years. I know it works. I have things to share with people who won't ever be able to take my class. That I want them to have this information because it's going to make their life better. You have to have a purpose that's beyond you. I had a purpose beyond me. And I said, okay, so that deal isn't happening, and who knows why, and that's probably the right thing. There's somebody out there better for me. There's 6,000 publishers in the United States of America, and I haven't talked to them all yet. So I'm going to keep going until I get me one, and I will.
And you did.
And I did. Yeah. And a better one. Source Books is an awesome company. I love them.
So, what would you like to share with others as the most important piece of advice in embarking on a journey of transformation and reinvention? What would be the best?
The first thing that comes to mind is trust yourself.
Oh, and that's a biggie.
Yes.
I call it, because what I've said, I posted both in LinkedIn and on Facebook as to what this new journey is about. And I really didn't even ask anybody for support, but I got huge amounts of support from a lot of people. And it was about a leap of faith in myself, which is trust, right?
Let me tell you, the leap of faith, the best quote I read about that is, a leap of faith is not a leap from point A to point B. It's a leap from point A.
That's amazing.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
Just a leap from point A. Just leap.
You'll
leap.
Land. Just do it.
You'll land somewhere.
Because as we all know, a man who's going to open a business or is going to go for a promotion doesn't think, do I have A, B, C, D, all the qualifications to be able to do it correctly and be successful? No, they just think, I can do that, and they go for it.
Yes.
And they're usually given more of an opportunity than a woman who says, I can do that, I can go for it. A lot of times unfortunately, they'll get no's. Yeah, because somebody's looking at them saying, oh, I need to check off every single thing because she's a woman. I mean, it's a bias that's inside people's brains. It's not necessarily.
It is. Yeah. It is. That is an unseen prejudice that everybody knows is there. And there's a wonderful book I must promote called Women Don't Ask. It will totally illuminate for you the problems women have in the marketplace. Some of it's the marketplace and some of it's women and our cultural training and upbringing to wait until we're asked. Women don't negotiate their salaries as powerfully as men. And when they post a job promotion at work, a man looks at it, and if he has 60% of the qualifications, he'll go apply. A woman will look at it, and she won't apply unless she has 95% of the qualifications. And you know what?
I know, because that's how I operate. So yeah.
I have never gotten a job that I was qualified for. I become qualified after I get it.
Yeah.
One of my first things was when I was in college, I needed to have a summer job. And I failed the typing test at the auto club. That's what I remember. And I'm driving down the street and I said, well, what the hell am I going to do? And it struck me. Some angel whispered in my ear and said, what would you really like to do? And I thought, I hadn't thought about that. Well, what would I like to do? And I saw the sign on a florist shop. And I went, oh, I like flowers. That'd be fun to arrange flowers. I'm going to go in. I pulled over. I walk in. I said, I'm looking for a summer job. This woman says, are you a designer? I said, yes. I don't know where that came from. It just came out of my mouth. Yes, because I wanted a job. And she goes, okay, come back here and design something. I said, okay. So I'm following her and I'm looking around the shop going, oh my God, how did they put it together? Well, okay. And she gave me a pot, and gave me some flowers, and I started putting something together. She looked at it. She goes, okay, come back tomorrow. I'll tell the boss about you. Come back at 9 o'clock. And so I showed up the next day at 9 o'clock. She goes, oh, you're the girl that Doris talked to. And I said, yeah. He says, so can you start? I said, sure. He goes, come on back. I had a job every summer, every vacation.
Oh, my goodness. Good stuff. Wow.
Chutzpah, darling. Just say you can.
Yes.
What's the worst that can happen?
Yes.
See, I have a friend who says, when I'm about to take a risk, I consider the downside. If it's not death, I do it.
Because a lot of us, I mean, at least where I'm at, and I know I've talked to a lot of women, have themselves already established. They've been doing this for 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
And so they've got their name in one industry and one type of job.
Yeah.
And to be able to take a leap of faith and do something else is what's difficult. But the way you explain it is, if you love it, if you want to do something, just do it.
Just do it.
Yeah.
And you know what? Just figure out a budget that's going to help you, give you confidence. Look at the money that you've got saved, if you have some savings, to be able to give yourself a breath of air. If you're going into your own business, it's going to cost you some money initially, and you probably won't make money right away.
Right.
You'll have to do some advertising and get a website and go to networking meetings. And
all costs money.
All of that stuff is time and effort. And that's you building your brand. And make it as honestly about you. Don't worry about what other people say to do. Don't look at what all the crowd is doing. Look at your uniqueness and put your uniqueness in it. And it wouldn't matter if you were certified by some other group or company or individual and you were one of their coaches or whatever. Still, you're you and you're unique and you have a unique flavor. So you put your flavor on it. Because like I have financial stress reduction coaches. So I give them my workbook. I give them all my material, advertising. They don't have to invent an ad. They don't have to invent a newsletter. They can use all my stuff. And they're going to make it their own. So in the beginning, they tell my stories that illustrate a principle. My gal in Boston, Laura Fickett, let me give her credit. She tells none of my stories anymore. She has replaced them with her stories.
Oh, that's fabulous.
But she's got the unique brand, financial stress reduction coaching. That's my trademark. And she gets to use it. So she gets the benefit of all of the hits on Google, etc. So she gets clients. Because none of us need more than 40 or 50 clients a year to make $100,000 a year.
That's fabulous.
So,
and that's important. Monetizing it correctly, you've done a bang up job. Well, you should. You're the one doing a financial workshop.
Well, yeah. Hi. Got to practice what you preach.
Well, I want to thank you for your time. And again, I'm probably going to come to you for on some other subject that's related to this at a future date. And
anytime.
I hope that you'll
I love talking,
us.
as you can see.
Yeah.
So now I'm just acting. I'm just doing a one-woman show on money, basically, in my life. That's what this class is.
Yes, but it's always changing because you have different people that you're interacting with.
And something happened to me last week that didn't happen before, and that illustrates the new principle. So
there you go.
Yeah.
So you can reach Chellie at Chellie.com, CHELLIE.com, and sign up for all of her classes.
Nope, can't sign up there.
No.
You can sign up that you want more information, and I will call you, because I only have 6 to 8 people in any class. That's why everybody gets to feel, like you said, like you're individual and I care about you. I want to be able to care about each person. I don't want 100 people on the call. So I don't want to just give information. That's in the books. I want transformation, which means I have to catch you doing the wrong thing, or being in your blind spot, or being in the place where you're making the mistake, so that I can say, there it is. What is going on right there?
And that's really the one-on-one that I was talking about.
Yeah.
And you can sign up for more of my podcasts at my reinvent-urself.com.
Yay.
I truly believe that everyone should live their bliss, no matter what age, before they leave this earth. And in your second book, you promoted a Talmudic quote that was, "A person will be called upon to account on Judgment Day for permitted pleasures he might have enjoyed but did not." So in closing, I'd like to say, let's all make sure we live our life exploring all the permitted pleasures.
Yes. Don't you just love that image of God at the pearly gates saying, "So did you have all the fun I intended for you to have, young lady?"
Thank you again. Thank you, everyone, for listening. And sign up for the podcast, and we'll give you some more of this wonderful, wonderful insight and information.